Welcome back. Today we're going to pull the dash and remove a radio from this 2003 Chevy Impala. The dash on this is pretty easy to get out, maybe 10-15 minutes. I have an aftermarket radio in it. This is my car. Display one on it. So I'm going to put the factory radio back in and I still have it. And I'm going to show you how to get the dash out of it. I'm on the passenger side of this vehicle, and the first thing we have to do is we're going to pull the fuse covers off either side. You're going to do this on both sides. They just pull out, basically. Set that aside. And right here, you can see, I'll try to show you here, this lighting's not real good. Right there at the top is a screw. So we're going to take that screw off. You're going to do the same thing on the driver's side. Pull the panel and pull a screw out of that side. Do the same exact thing. Okay, now you can see a little better lighting. And we're just going to take this screw right here. I'm going to take that one out. And we're just going to, this is Phillips' head. We're just going to undo that screw. Okay, looking at the driver's side. Open the door up and we're going to pull this fuse panel as well. A little tough to get these sometimes, but they'll just pop out of there. And then you can see that same screw that was on the other side. Same thing on this side. We're going to pull that out. So we're looking down under the driver's side dash here. We have to remove this bottom piece and get it out of the way in order to get this out and get that top piece of that top part of the dash out. So first there's just two clips right here. There's a little clip. You just push them in, pull this and let this sit down. It doesn't have to come all the way out. You can just lay it down there like that. Now under here are two screws. Right there, one there, and one there. Phillips head, you can take them out. We're going to take them out and release this bottom piece of the dash. Okay. Now we should be able to just get this piece out. I'm not even going to disconnect. There's an electrical connector for the trunk here, but we're just going to let that hang down. It's out of the way. Pull back, straight back with the piece, and they should pop out of place. There's three of them. There's one down there. There's one on this side, and there's one on this side. So what we wanted to get to was this right here. These bolts. This one screw right here. This is near the steering column, but it's holding this piece upper dash. It's holding that in place. So we're going to pull that out. Okay. Up in the top, behind the steering wheel, up in the near the gauges, there's two screws. Now these I think are 1/4 inch, but they're also, I believe they're Phillips head as well, and they are. You need a stubby, a little short screwdriver. If you don't have one, use a 1/4 inch and a ratchet, 1/4 inch socket and a ratchet. You got to take those two out, so we're going to take those two out. Get my hand in there to get these out of here. Not much to them. There we go, there's one. The other side here. It's difficult to do this stuff in tight quarters with the camera. Makes it a lot harder. So when we go to take this dash out, there is a connector. Depending on what you have in your car, there's at least one for the hazard switch. So when you start to pull this dash out, you see there's a connector here. But what we need to do is this column shifter is going to be in the way. So you need to make sure your parking brake's on, block your back wheel so it doesn't move anything. Turn your key to the on position, don't start it, and you're going to shift this all the way down in the first gear, and that'll bring this lever, the shift lever, down and out of the way and let you get this dash out. That's it for this side. That's all that has to come off. You should be able to just pop this out, and that's it. See how it just pops out of there, just like that. So we got that loose. Let's see if we can just pop this dash out. See if I can make this a little more shaky for you so you can't figure out what's going on. So really just a couple bolts, a couple little screws on this side, on the driver's side, one on either end of the dash that has to come out. and you should be able to pop this dash out. It'll take 10 or 15 minutes. Not very hard. What I'm trying to get to is this radio. This is not factory radio, and the display went bad on it. The display doesn't work, so I'm going to pull this out and put I have the factory radio still. I'm going to stick that back in there. Alright, battery's disconnected. I'll shift this all the way down. It's in first gear, but you can't see because the battery's disconnected. But that just gets it out of the way for the most part. And then we're going to pull this dash. I'm going to work across here. Should be able to pull this. There it goes. Just pushing clips. This key switch may pop off on me, but that's okay. I don't really care. Actually, it would probably be smarter if I took that off. And then that'll come out. It's just a piece of plastic. See if I can pop that loose. Alright. This must be stupid. So I started to pull that out. And that's all it is, a piece of plastic. So key was actually holding it in place. So once it starts to come loose, when you start pulling on it, shut your key off. You have to shift that up, shut your key off, take that out. Don't break it. It's just plastic. Like everything else. Virtually everything else. Now you can shift back into all the way down. Gives you more room. Now, there's this electrical connector right here. You may have more than this, depends on the options on your car. Here. Oh, and I just broke my dash. Don't do that. Don't break your dash. Wow. I had this dash off of here 50 times. Probably never had that problem, but I just broke my dash. Careful of that. Well, at least it's my car, not somebody else's. So in the back here, there's a clip. I push that clip in and release this electrical connector. There it is. Let's see if I can get it released here. Come on. There it goes. Unhook that. Try to break your dash like I just did. That's what happens sometimes, but at least it's mine and not somebody else's. So tilt the steering wheel all the way down, basically. I should have done that first. I wouldn't have broken the dash. There it goes. I cracked it. I didn't completely break it, but you don't want to do that. Look at that, right there. That was my fault. Like I said, at least this is my car, not somebody else's. I don't have to buy a new dash for it. So now that's out. Now I can get at this. So what I didn't say, and I did mention it, is I had the steering wheel tilted up. I forgot. Tilt the steering wheel all the way down before you pull this. And that wouldn't have cracked that. I cracked it because I forgot. That was dumb. But at least it's mine and not. I'm going to pull the stereo. It's just 4 screws. Actually 3 screws, Phillips head. Pull them out. There we go. And it comes. Little connector here. Connect it. So here you can see, here's the aftermarket harness connector, and here's the factory. Don't cut your harness. They make adapters for these. You want to keep your factory harness. Do not cut your harness all up. They make adapters for these everywhere, so I'm just going to unplug that, basically. And I'm going to, these both plug back into my factory stereo. And we're going to plug it back in, get it working. 3 connectors here. I don't even know if I use all 3 of these connectors. I don't remember. This whole thing comes out. This is GM, so you need a tie-in to the ringer on the doors, so it chimes for you. So that's what this whole thing is. But the beautiful thing about it is, don't cut your harness. Like I said before, I don't know how else to say that except maybe I should say it one more time. Don't cut your harness. You're just asking for trouble. There's the factory harness. So all I have to do is plug the factory stereo back in. They make adapters for everything now. You can buy this, like, this came with a stereo. I just bought this adapter kit with that adapter for the to plug it in, and the harness to my particular stereo. And that's it. It's out. It's out. Let's plug my other one back in. I got my factory stereo. Plug it back in. My antenna. Oh, come on, I know you want to fit in there. Oh, I got an adapter on there. Come here. Get that adapter. Antenna. I know you can't see this, but it's not really exciting. I'm just plugging the connectors back in. Clip them back in place in the back of the unit. Alright, now I'm going to go set this in place. I'm not going to screw it in there yet. I'm going to go hook my battery back up, and we're going to make sure this thing's hooked up right before I put the dash all in there. Because if it's not, you have to pull the dash again. Well, that's annoying. So that's because I had the chip out of it. It's obviously working.
And they've been.
All right, Pepper.
Who you love, I'll love. How you serve, I'll serve. Follow.
Alright, it's working. So we're going to put the dash back in now. Key back in. I hate this because it's going to make all kinds of noise. It's going to beep while I do this. Not much I can do about that. Alright. I got the battery in it. Okay. What? Alright, get my electrical connector here for my hazard hooked back up. Weasel that back down in there. Alright, put that in. Just take your time, basically, and you can shift that up, shift it off. Line everything back up. Just push it back into place. Just be careful. Don't be in a hurry. Make sure everything lines up all right. Okay. Back up. Good. You will break the plastic tabs on this if you try to force it. It's not in the right spot. So just take your time, line up, and get back in. That's about it. Not hard. Alright, that's pretty much it. Putting the dash back in place. Got to put a couple screws we took out back in, and I just did. Man, I'm on a roll today. Oh man, I'm on a roll. Stupid. Break it, line shift. Okay. Well, I forgot to put the screws back in the stereo. So now I get to pull it again. One more chance to break something. Carefully pull it out of here just enough to get at these screws. That was dumb on my part. Alright, I'm not going to pull it all the way off. That's what you get for being in a hurry. Well, I'm showing you all the things to do today. I'm showing you all the things today not to do. Cracked my dash because I forgot something. Got to put the screws back in the stereo, hold it in place, so to do that twice, that's always fun. Alright, everybody's back in. Now, back up. Put my key housing back in. Should go like that. Let's see what we got. Don't break it, just pushes on. There you go. Push that on. Good to go. That's pretty much it. Obviously I'm gonna put the screws back in and button things back up, but you get to see the mistakes that I make, which we all make. Forgot to put the screws back in before putting the dash back on. To do that twice, and forgot to tilt my wheel in the beginning. You can't even see where I cracked it because it's closed up now, and you can't even see it. So it's not bad, but I'm just glad it was mine and not somebody else's because it's just a stupid mistake. So I get to make the stupid mistakes. Hopefully you won't, because you get to see me do it. So make sure you tilt that wheel down, and you see what happens when it's up. You got that angle to get over. When it's tilted all the way down, now you got a much better shot at this will slide out more, slide straight out, and won't break it. That's pretty much it. You know, really 10 or 15 minutes to get this dash out. It's not a bad dash at all. Some dashes can take you all day. They're brutal. But this one, you know, if you're going to do a radio in it, 10 or 15 minutes to get the dash out. Radios in these are a little bit of a pain for GM because they have this, they run all their security and all through the radio. So it causes some issues sometimes. They do make, I have a short adapter harness for this, but they make an adapter for these cars, GM, with the GM factory radios, that'll actually run, and you can run it and mount your factory radio in the trunk, so you still have all your settings, that oil reset, everything runs through the radio, and you can have your aftermarket stereo and your head unit with the factory in the trunk, and that way you still have all your connections for all your security stuff. Not that expensive to get it, but that's pretty much it. Easy to do. You'll spend more time actually putting the aftermarket stereo and getting the wiring ready, and you can see where this adapter that plugs into the factory harness has been connected up to the aftermarket, one that matches the stereo, the aftermarket stereo. And I will say one thing about this: solder these with the shrink wrap. Don't crimp them together and do it halfway, and you're just asking for trouble. And the shrink wrap you want to get is the one that has adhesive in it. So when it melts, there's an adhesive in there that seals it, and it won't corrode inside there. But take your time and solder these things if you're going to do this. Do it right. I've seen so many of these cause problems in wiring where even people who do it for a living don't do them right. They do it halfway, and They don't even solder them half the time. They'll twist them together and put a wire nut on them, and it just causes all kinds of problems. Take a little more time. It doesn't take that much longer to actually do them right, and then you won't have a problem with them. Well, you got to see me mess up a little bit on that dash and crack it in one place above the steering column because I forgot to tilt the steering wheel down, but at least it was my car, not somebody else's car. Somebody else's car, I had to replace that dash. But honestly, when I put the dash back in, you can't even tell it's cracked. It didn't crack all the way through it. I just put a small crack in it, and you can't even see it now. It's fine. But you get to see me mess up on stuff, and hopefully you don't make those mistakes because you get to watch me do it, forget to do things, and mess things up. But it's an easy job to do. If you need to replace a radio or get behind that dash for another reason, replace a lock cylinder or something like that, it shows you how to get that dash off and get to what you need to get to. I hope it helps you out. I hope you like the videos. If you do, subscribe below. Thanks for watching.